Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I want to introduce our superstar engineer / just all-around cool guy and producer, Howie Darkstar. What's going on, Howie?
How are you? Good to see you too, Jay.
And we have Jay. We have Jay, Swingin' Jay, who is now in Fullerton in his car.
Technically, I'm still in Torrance. I'm on my way to Fullerton, but I pulled over to be safe. I'm not driving. I had a long day prepping for my happy hour show on Thursday.
But you are a trooper. You're still here.
Still here.
I kind of like the car thing. It's cool. Something a little different.
Something different. Yes. Yeah.
I love the lighting.
Yeah.
Lighting's good.
Lighting's good.
Can you see behind me is a Carl's Jr. and a Taco Bell. I'm in a very ritzy area.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
We got a Walmart over to the side of me. So once it gets dark, I'm going to drive away because it's the kind of parking lot I don't want to be in.
The tour of Torrance. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on with you, Brian?
Man, let me tell you, it's been a week. And I want to talk about a couple things tonight. But the first thing I want to talk about is how I'm kind of getting flashbacks from a few years ago. It's been a while, but and I'm going to ask both of you, actually, your opinions on this. Now, for a couple of years now, it's been a little weird. You know, I took some time off before my father passed, and my summers were kind of sparse. You know, I was still working, but it wasn't working a lot. And then last year, of course, we had literally nothing. And this year, I'm pretty busy. I got a lot going on. People are playing catch up. And I remember the reason I had a sparse year, the year my father died, was because I intentionally took time off because I wanted to spend some time with my dad, because I found myself in this constant state of gig prep. Like, I didn't feel like I could leave the house and go visit him or anything, because I've got something cooking. I have something I have to work on. I have something I have to concentrate on with a gig that's coming up. I haven't had that feeling again until this month. And my question to you, as you're both professionals, what could a guy like me do to ease that burden a little bit? How can I put myself in a place where I feel like I can enjoy my summer, spend some time with mom, take the car for a drive, spend some time with the kids, and not feel like I'm constantly obligated to be working on the next event?
Well, that's a tough one. I'm in the same kind of space, but I'm genuinely grateful.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for the work.
No. I know you are. Yeah. So my point is, I'm really focused on, the worst problem I have is to get ready. I mean, I had 2 amazing weddings over the weekend. I had 3 last 2 weeks ago. I have 2 coming up. And I'm like you. I mean, driving to headquarters today, I fielded 2 phone calls from July brides who want to meet up. I've just gotten booked by like 3 new clients in the last week. It's, and I have to, like you, tomorrow I'm going to spend prepping for 2 weddings.
Right.
It should be the day off. So I think I'm going to have to find a better time management. The other thing I'm going to put on Facebook is I need a system that I don't presently have, where I can tell one thing, everything I'm doing, and it sends that out to everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so when I pick up my phone, the computer, the calendar looks like the one that was in my office. When I open my laptop, it tells me. When I talk to a bride, I just bought an app for like $3. I think it's called Brain Toss. And I'm going to start using that because it'll email a voice memo. So when I talk to a bride in the car driving and I hang up, I can hit voice memo and say, okay, remember Brittany on July 9th wants to hear these 2 songs. That's what you talked about. And I'm telling clients I'm driving, but what can I help you with? And, we try to give our best answers, but it's trying to keep it all organized.
Right.
So I think that's some of the stress. It's not the prep. It's the, am I forgetting anything?
Right.
Right.
It would be one thing if every event was the same. And I was thinking about you specifically, Jay, because I know a lot of times, not all the time, because I know you do other events, but it seems like most of your work is coming from the local wineries.
It's all coming from the local wineries this year.
With that, there's a structure and a rhythm that this hall has. They do dinner at this time. They're done at this time. So you're just kind of filling in the blanks on that. To me, that sounds like it would be so much easier than playing at a different venue every week. I mean, miles apart. I'm in a bar one week. I'm in a country club the next week. I'm in a hotel the week after that. It's a lot to try. It's weird. I don't know.
And it is. And I think the benefit is I know where I'm going. I know what I'm expected to do.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, I did a middle school 6th, 7th, and 8th grade drive-through graduation on a Wednesday. Thursday, I did the happy hour. Friday, I did a 60th birthday at a country club. Saturday, I did a wedding. Sunday, I did a wedding. Now, the weddings were at two different venues.
Okay.
And the country club was easy, and the graduation was easy. And I think when it is different events, your focus is different. But the issue I run into is I'm scared blankless that I'm going to fall into, everything's okay because I loaded the gear from venue A last Sunday, and I'm there on Friday. I don't have to prep anything. Yeah. And it's the exact opposite. I'm almost unloading and then reloading to make sure, wait, I've got a new mic stand. Did I put the adapter on it? Wait, did I, and I'm not a checklist guy. It's all up here.
Right. Me too.
The backpack the backpack has the laptops, the charger, the headphones, the mic. The hard drives are always in a black bag. That saves me a lot of time because there's continuity and there's consistency. Sure. But I think unless your gear is at that venue, you're constantly going back and forth with it. My setup times have cut down because I'm in the same place all the time. But then the reality of but in the reality of this isn't the same wedding. This isn't the same couple. Right. How am I going to approach this? And I want it to be fresh. I don't want to fall into the histories of the last 10 weddings and be like, let me regurgitate these. But it's so funny that you brought this up as a topic because I thought today, I left my house today at noon. It's now 7:00 my time. I'll get home probably like 8:39. I saw Michelle this morning. I saw both my kids this morning. I walked the dog at 8:30 this morning. By the time I get home, I don't want to prep anything. I don't want to sit on the hard drives and go, okay, I need to make sure I have this, this, and this, this, and this.
Right.
But I know I'll get up in the morning. It's going to be 110 degrees here. It's not fair to the puppy to be like, hey, let's go for a walk around noon.
Right.
So I already know at 7:30 tomorrow morning, I've got to have a dog out on a good walk and then figure out what's next. What do I need to then focus and try to get time management going? Yeah. But if anyone's got a suggestion, I'd love you to put in the chat. I don't care what it costs, but I want that one unicorn thing that if I go on my computer, a PC, and tell it something, when I hit send, it shows up everywhere and it lets me know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe it's a scheduler, Brian, that would help you out. I don't know.
I don't know if that's it. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I know when I'm doing it. I think the problem is that everything is so damn custom. And I've talked about, spending, 20, 30, even sometimes 40 hours in prep for an event. And some DJs look at me like, why are you doing this?
All day.
And I'm like, wait a minute. How are you not doing this? Because every event I do is different.
Yep.
It really is.
100%.
And it's different music. It's different people. It's names I have to learn. I have a quinceañera coming this weekend. No. Yeah. I mean,
I think that's a sweet spot for you. I know you've got that, but if I was in your shoes, I would have already been on the phone call with JC. I would have been on the phone call with like 5 local guys. I would have gone and bought a couple more lights because and it's funny, even you saying that, I got anxious. Like, Man,
music isn't the problem. The music isn't a problem for me,
right?
For the quinceañera.
Yeah.
The structure's weird because, well, you know how it goes. People at a wedding, they'll have a grand entrance, they'll have a cake cutting, they'll have a first dance, they'll have a father-daughter, mother-son, and whatever else kind of thing that you do that's a formality. The quinceañeras have more than that.
Oh, a lot.
They're working with choreographers to do a dance.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
The court, the quinceañera court, whatever it's called in Spanish, which I don't even know. And the good news is my clients don't speak Spanish either, so I'm safe there.
Oh, you're set.
Yeah, they just happen to be Latino, just kind of like I feel like I am sometimes.
I was going to say,
I just don't speak Spanish. So it's a perfect fit in that regard. But there's a lot of stuff. What I'm worried about is the stop and go. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe I'm just stressed about doing it. And not so much about, okay, I can follow a timeline, because I've been doing this for a minute. But I'm kind of thinking about, how am I going to hurt all of these people more than once? Like, I'm going to do a thing, then I'm going to stop. Then I got to get everybody's attention again and do a thing. And then I'm going to let him go. And then I got to get everybody's attention again in half an hour and do a thing, which was not my choice. I recommended to this client, hey, please don't do it like this. Package all this stuff together. Let's get their attention once, knock this out, and move on. But they wanted to milk it for several hours.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's wigging me out. Because you know how it is, trying to get people's attention over and over and over again. They're tired of hearing it. They just want to relax and talk. You're interrupting them mid-conversation with whoever they're trying to have a conversation with. You're interrupting
100%.
their dance time. It's kind of like pushing a car up a hill. You get the momentum, and it's okay. It's like, okay, I'm going. I have some kind of inertia happening here, and then you have to stop. Okay, now I have to start all over again. And it's just harder and harder every time.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like at some of these events. So I don't know.
Well, even your point about getting anxious, I said to somebody, I'll stop DJing the day I don't show up at a wedding nervous. I'm nervous every wedding I do. And I'm not nervous for me. I'm nervous for what I've told people. I've promised them a great night.
Right.
I know it's within my skill set. I know there's nothing on the table that they've said they want from me that I can't give them. But I've set their expectation at such a high because I know in my heart of hearts, I want to exceed it. My wedding Sunday night, real quick, mellow couple, the last email was, here's our final request. I'll be honest, I don't think our group's going to dance much. So don't worry about that. Now, that wasn't a challenge to make them dance, but it was, if it's there, I want to capitalize on it. And I got lucky. Very early on, I met the 96-year-old grandmother, and she liked me.
Right.
And then I talked to her during dinner, and she talked about real estate and how much the town has grown and yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the meal, I said, folks, we're going to be heading our way up to the gazebo for first dance, father, daughter, mother, son. Your dessert bar will open soon. Your bar is open all night. You have lawn games. And then I decided to go a little far. And I said, and I've gotten quite a few texts to ask me if the rumors are true. And they are. There is a good chance DJ Grandma is going to come up and throw down a set. Well, they erupted. She's like the patriarch of the family. She's 96 years old. They love her to death. She loves them. And sure as anything, around 9 o'clock, Grandma comes up, gets out of the wheelchair, walks across the gazebo, comes up, grabs my arm for support and to tell me how happy she is and how good I am and how the DJ makes or breaks the event. I'm like, she's 96. I got clients in their 20s that don't think the DJ is important. Here's wisdom.
It takes some people a while to catch on.
Yeah.
Well, and then I go, here, would you mind? I go, put your hand right here. And there's video on my IG and Facebook. And she did a couple scratches. I hit the play button. She scratched again. I go, now let go and watch what happens. It starts playing Mi Gente. And she's like hands in the air and clapping and having a great time. I won't give numbers.
Great.
You know what? And I won't give the numbers, but if you knew the couple and you met them, we do events where we think, oh, we really went far. He probably used the expression, you so far exceeded our expectations. We had no idea we could have this kind of fun, this kind of wedding. And he put it on me. I didn't tell him to, but they gave me a lot of that credit. And I realized in that very moment, it wasn't my mixing. It wasn't the Evolve 50s. It wasn't the lights or the XDJ XZ. It was that being a good DJ is understanding you need to connect.
Yeah.
And you need to have people have a good memory and a good time. And that's where I get anxious.
Yeah.
I want that connection. You've done this, Brian. Howie's done it. The best compliment you can get is when they come over to you mid-event and say, man, doing a great job. You're killing it. Oh, thank you. How long have you known the bride and groom? Oh, I just met him in person today. Wait, what? I thought you guys were all good friends.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, it's a great compliment. And I'm like, no, we've talked on the phone. Oh my God, I totally thought you were friends. I'm like, do you mind if I ask why? Because every time you walk by, the bride and groom smile. And every time you played a different track, I'd see the bride smile and give you a high five or a thumbs up or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's my job, is to try to express who they are through music. And if they're happy, you're going to be happy. They're like, yeah, dude, this is amazing. And you realize that's why you and I get nervous about prep. And that's why we get nervous about things, because we're at a level of caring that I think might exceed some of the expectations of our clients, because they don't expect that.
I need to learn to relax. I need to learn to relax and just know that I got it. Get my timeline knocked out. If they throw stuff at me last minute, you know what? You gave it to me last minute, and I'll do my best, but no promises.
But Brian, come on. Don't sell yourself short. You and I both know I could have you do a wedding in 20 minutes with a couple you've never met in a venue you've never been in.
That's the point. I can do this with my eyes closed, but nobody lets me do that. Everybody has their own idea, and I have to take their idea and somehow do something with it where it makes sense, even if it's ridiculous. And that's what I'm dealing with this weekend. Yeah. That's how I feel. Anyway, I feel like I'm dealing with a structure that I didn't think was a good idea, but they insisted on it. And
then you need to make it work.
I got to make it work. Right.
Yeah.
I got to make it work.
I'm glad you didn't say, I'm going to tell them they were wrong, or you watch.
I can tell them I don't think this is the way to go, but ultimately they're the boss. I'm only the coach.
Right.
So whatever they say we got to do.
Them over the line. Yeah.
We're going to do it their way, but I can't guarantee success. I can only do my best with it. And those are the kind of things that screw with me when I should be out just cruising around in the 65, enjoying a beautiful day. Those are the things I'm thinking about. Those are the things I'm overthinking. Those are the things that I'm looking at, staring at the timeline I've created. So how can I make this work? Aside from the stuff I have to do, like chase music down. I had a gig last weekend where the client texted me and said, for our grand entrance song, we want to hear "Oh My Mama, Oh My Hood." What's that? It's a song called "I Look Good." It's like 10 years old or older or whatever. No big deal. I Google that. I pull the song. And that was easy. But sometimes it's a little harder than that. So you got to play detective on this crap. And then you got to
go looking for apple bottom jeans.
Really meant? Right. Yeah, it's worse than apple bottom jeans. Apple bottom jeans ago. Yeah. That was last week's show with Howie.
Yeah.
It's those kind of
I'm
things.
I'm still looking for it.
Anyway, yeah, so I just have to learn to relax. I don't know. I got this. I always have it. I just want to make sure it's right. Want to make sure everything's working the way it should be working. I've got like a little bit of maintenance to do on my equipment this week. Nothing major. My Velcro failed on my sign this week. I got to fix that. Everything else should be good. And I should just be able to kick back and enjoy my summer a little bit, because I don't want to be in this constant state of prep. Just stuck in the house. It's a beautiful day out. I should be outside.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
No, you're right.
I'm on the phone. I'm answering text messages. I'm doing all this crap. And none of this stuff is really that big of a deal. Nothing they're asking me is important, but I got to keep them calm because they're nervous. So I've got to like, oh no, it's going to be all right. In the meantime, in my head, I'm like, it better be all right. I got to make it look like it's going to be all right. I got to make it work anyway. But anyway.
you're living in the dashes.
Yeah.
I think either I had a dream or there's actually a book out called Living in the Dashes, where you end up, again, I can't tell if it's real or a dream, but I took it to be, here are the two actions, but it's that dash in the middle of it that you get stuck in, because their ideas are all cohesive to them, but you're in the dash that has to make those two things come together.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to take a day and go have some fun.
Good. You deserve it.
I told myself I'm going to do it. I just hope that I'm not thinking about this in the back of my mind the whole time where it's ruining my day. Because I want to get everything handled on Thursday for this event. Then Friday, I don't want to do a damn thing except rest up for the event.
Right.
And do it. That's
best laid plans. And 99% of the time, I'm still getting music together the day of the event. As much as I say, I have a wedding this Friday. And I said to myself, when I talked to the bride today, when I get home tonight, because I thought I'd be home in time for the show, but I'm not. But when I get home, I'm going to knock out the crates of music tonight. So I don't have to do it tomorrow. Thursday, I have the show. Friday, I have the wedding. And I can almost guarantee you, Thursday night, if you call me, it's like, what are you doing? I'm setting up the crates for tomorrow. No big deal.
Yeah.
So I bring that on myself.
I really need to do it because it affects my energy level on gig day if I don't.
100%.
It just does. I mean, with my condition, it's worse. So I really have to rest up. I don't need to make any extra physical steps for sure. And it's nice if I can just kick back and relax and not stress. And so, yeah, that's the plan. I should be able to knock this out. I should be able to do a good, I would say a good 5 to 8 hour day on Thursday and get this all where I want it. Everything. Any gear maintenance I have to do, any music I have to download, anything. I should be able to get that done. So I have Friday to relax. If not, I got Friday, but I shouldn't have to take it. But anyway, that's been on my mind. The other thing I was thinking about, and it keeps coming up, and I wanted to bring it up to the room, is song lyrics. Now, before we start talking about WAP and how this is saying these damn kids, before we get into that, I have a question for both of you. And I know I'm going to get probably two different answers. When you hear a song for the first time, for the very first time, what are you listening for? Is it the melody and harmony? Is it the lyrics? Is it the beat? What are you listening for?
For me, it would be I'm just listening for the melody, harmony. Like, is this pleasant? Is it danceable? And then the lyrics are secondary.
I'm with you.
But when I find out if, what she's saying in that song you referred to, then it's like, oh, well, okay, that's a no-go.
Well, I know that all my life, I've heard songs that I like the beat to. I like the melody to. I've heard vocals that I find pleasing.
Yes.
Male and female vocals. And, that's a good vocal. If I really like a song, if I really like it, I might ask myself, I wonder what they're talking about in this song. That's like a byproduct of everything else. I mean, I like poetry, but not that much. I prefer music. So it's rhyming words. But that's me, and I don't know if that's a generational thing, but that's how I still feel about music. I'm more concerned.
I think it's most people, because I did a recent event where they wanted, and it was supposed to be a patriotic thing, and they wanted "Born in the USA" by Springsteen.
Yeah,
and
you were talking about that.
It's a protest song, but that's what they wanted, and to them, it's patriotic. I don't think most people really dive too deep into the music, or to the lyrics rather, except for those, stalwart sing-along things,
I strongly believe that our generation, and be it two different generations, I believe that we kind of listen for the same things. We listen for melody. We listen for harmony. We listen for pleasing vocals. Maybe, you know, we listen for just a chord progression or a beat or something like that. And then the lyrics are like a secondary thing. But I believe the new generation is more focused on the lyrics than they are anything else.
Interesting take.
And I think it's because of hip hop.
That could be true. Yeah.
I think they're trained to do that. And the reason I say this is because I've been watching some of these reaction videos on YouTube. I'm kind of guilty pleasure of mine. I really enjoy seeing people hear things genuinely for the first time. There was one the other day, and I have to watch it over and over again. There's a couple, young couple, and they're listening to Little Red Corvette for the very first time. And they're watching the video and his dancing, and they're just mesmerized. And it's so cool to see because they love the music. They love what's happening visually in the video. And then, like, after it was all said and done, like, well, the song is about this and whatever, but this is a great song. Then I saw somebody else react to the same song. And right away, when it was over with this, well, let's break these lyrics down. Why? It's Little Red Corvette by Prince. Who cares what he's singing about? But that's me. These people grew up on hip hop. Meanings in tracks, diss tracks. I don't know. It's poetry, I guess.
It is kind of. I can remember when I was working in New York City, and I helped do the. I did the install of the lighting and everything, and it was called the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. It's world famous. And it was the first time I ever heard slam poetry. And slam poetry, to me, in retrospect, seems like it may have been the beginning of rap because they had a message. They wanted it to be out there. And sometimes they were angry as their cadence was angry.
Right.
And then it got put to music. And then, of course, people want to listen to those lyrics. Like, well, NWA, F the police, that had a message. They had something to say. So people paid attention to those lyrics. But Little Red Corvette, I just think it's a pleasant song. Honestly, I don't know what the words mean. I'll out myself right now. I don't know what I don't know what the song's about.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Doesn't matter. You know the song very well.
It doesn't matter. I like the song.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. You know what? Yeah. Something else I was thinking about too. When it comes to this, we can talk about a song like WAP. Just kind of put that like in your mind as to what it's about and what the song sounds like and how it's so different from every other hip hop song you've heard in the last 5 or 6 years, which is totally not. And then I'm thinking about songs like, I don't know, for point of reference for anybody maybe over the age of 40 or maybe 45, 50, Starland Vocal Band's Afternoon Delight. I'm thinking about that song and I'm thinking, you know what? I knew what it was about. It's obvious. I'm listening to it. I get it. I know what's happening in the song. My mother, on the other hand, had no clue. And the cool part about that hidden innuendo was, there was a thing they were talking about here that was risque in the song. But the fun part was some people were in on the joke and some people, the joke was on them. I thought that was so much fun. Another one I can think of just off the top of my head, a little more straightforward, but Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax. Don't do it when you want to come. It's right there. I mean, he's not even hiding it. But there were so many people who just, well, I don't understand what that means. It's just a good song. Other people were like,
yeah.
they were in on the joke. Then other people, the joke was on them. I miss that about music.
Yeah.
I really miss that. That was fun. Yeah. And I think the Gen X is pretty savvy for the most part. I don't think there's much you can get past us. We get the dirty jokes, but my mother, I mean, she was what they call, I think, the lost generation, World War II kid. She had no idea. She had no idea, and it was so much fun to listen to her. I've made references to the song Music Does, Push in the Bush. I mean, my mother would sing that song to me when I was little, and it would make me very uncomfortable because I knew what it was about at 7, 8 years old, but she had no idea, and it was gross. And I did not want to dance with her to that song. That was the last song I wanted to dance with her to in the living room. No, while she's vacuuming. No, I'm not dancing with you to that song. But I love the song. I don't care, Mom. I'm not dancing to this song. Put something else on. This Generation Z, they're never going to experience that, I don't think. And it's unfortunate. I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, can I share something about the first thing that you brought up? Because you two seem very concerned, and I don't. When Jay said, "Oh, he's nervous before every event," I'm the opposite. I'm completely calm. I go in, I set up, and then I take an hour Zen time for me. But it's all about the logistics for me, and what has made my life easier this summer with the thing is I did what we talked about 4 years ago, Brian. Remember when we said, hey, let's raise our prices and see what happens. And we compare it at the end of the season. We did less events, had more time for ourselves and our family, but made more money. And that's what I decided to do here, where they're like, oh, hey, we're open up, but here I'm offering it. No, I said, no, this is my rate. And I'll just, I'm sorry, I can't do the event,
It's interesting, Jay. Howie brought up money first.
There you go.
I don't want to say anything, but
I actually brought up not getting the money because I raised the rates. I was like, okay, I'll pass on the event. But the second thing is something really cool that I've done, and it comes up on my phone as well, is it doesn't matter whether you're Android or Apple. I use Chrome, and I put I have email sync on it. And so all 3 different emails, even from, my website, it all goes to the same thing. And I have this cool new app on here that reminds me, and it reminds me every day of things, that I've sent, like, oh, hey, do you want to take action on this type of thing? And it's, they actually call it your daily briefing, and it's really cool.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah. And so there's stuff out there, whatever. I mean, there's many different ones, but it's just whether you're at your laptop or like you right now, you're so busy driving around or whatever. Yeah, it would be right on your phone too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, and just real quick, I enjoy, and see if this makes sense. I'm not nervous. Oh no, I'm nervous, excited, nervous, because it's an opportunity. Yeah. I'm not like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm more anxious and nervous because like I said, I've told this couple that this is going to be, they made the right decision in hiring me. This is going to be a great day. And I don't ever want to take for granted somebody's special day. So, every musician that I respected, they weren't nervous, am I going to play well? They were anxious to get on stage because they wanted to perform and they wanted to give the crowd their money's worth. And I've just always kind of had that in my head. KK Downing and Judas Priest said something when I was in the 9th grade that I read that I still to this day believe in. And that is quite simply, you are only as good as your last gig. So I've never said, man, I killed every wedding this year. I've had a great year of weddings, but I'm only as good as Sunday. And Sunday was phenomenal. This coming Friday, I want to surpass Sunday, and that sort of thing. The other thing about Chrome that Kevin, who does our booth setups, he has the app where you could be on your phone. And if your desktop is turned on at home, you can see everything on your desktop.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, everything. Yeah. It's amazing. Oh, and just so with the nervousness part, I guess in a different way, I have a different connotation, I guess, of nervous. I kind of, in my brain, it's like a negative, but I do get the adrenaline rush that like I'm going on, but it's a positive kind of nervousness, I guess. So maybe I am nervous, but it's a positive, like I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I'm doing this.
And that's a better way to describe it for even me, I think. Because I look at club DJs that are like, they're showing up at 9 o'clock. The crowd's been drinking. They get there. They bang out the hits. They bang out the tracks. They do their thing. And they can take a crowd on an amazing journey. We've all been to the bar in the club where you go, now that was an awesome DJ. And we've also all been where it's like, the DJ went through the motions. The DJ just did what they were supposed to do, and that's what it is.
It in.
Yeah, but that's where weddings, I don't think you ever get that chance. If I was the manager of a club and the DJ was okay on Friday, that doesn't mean he's fired. That just means let's see how he is on Saturday. If he kills it on Saturday, I'll give him Friday as a write-off. But with a wedding, you're only getting one shot. And that's what I kind of have always liked. I really think weddings keep you on your toes. They make you progress as a DJ because they put you in a position to always try to outdo yourself.
I don't get nervous for performances. Like I'm never nervous up there.
Right.
No, neither am I.
I do get overwhelmed sometimes where, I don't know, if all of a sudden the client wants to do something that we hadn't talked about, and I have to, in my brain, do this whole thing. It's almost like on a GPS. For those of you who use a GPS, and you type in where you're going, and they left turn at this, and then a right turn here, and you get this whole thing. It was like rerouting, and you go off course. That's the sound in my head. Rerouting, going to the shoe dance. Rerouting. That happens, but it's more, it is, now that we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it, this is like a group therapy session here. I believe that what's happening to me during the week, or I'm not able to enjoy my week, is that my clients are psyching me out. I know what I'm doing. They may not be familiar with my work, and they're nervous, and I'm feeding off of that. So I'm saying to them, it's going to be okay. We got this. Okay, I have all your information. We're good. But in the meantime, I'm playing psychotherapist. And now I'm second guessing myself. Oh, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Because they're psyching me out. Maybe that's what it is.
I think it's the level of concern that we have inside about these events. And I mean, every event's important. Corporate parties to that client are as important as the birthday client, as the quinceañera client, as the wedding client. But I just think, you can go very far in this world as a really good DJ who does what they're supposed to and does it well. You can also blow your career out in the span of a night by showing up and not taking care of business and not taking it seriously enough. I just think when your guard goes down, that's when things go south. If you're concerned and nervous or on top of it or organized or whatever, adjective we're going to use for things, it becomes an issue of, I just want this to be great. In my head, I'm already like, when I load out, I can make it to Lazy Dog by 11. They give last call at midnight. I can have 2 beers and go home.
The motivation this guy has. I get to have a cocktail.
But it's very easy to get in your own head and be like, yeah, tomorrow I'm supposed to go here. Tomorrow I'm supposed to do that. Well, I can go do this. I can go do that. But I think when, in the moment, the other day, I think I may have or may not have told this real quick. I had a client hit me up and say, hey, my cousin's getting married. I told her she needs to contact you. Are you still doing weddings? I said, I am. Great. I'll send you her information. Here's her name. I hope you guys hook up. We still talk about how much fun we had. I did her wedding in October of 2007.
Okay.
Wow.
14 years has gone by, and I'm the recommendation. Now, it doesn't mean that I affected their lives so deeply, but it does mean that in that instance and in that case, I did what I was supposed to do well enough.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, I'm the first to admit, the DJ I was in 07 is not the DJ I am in 2021.
Right.
And, you know, that was the CDJ days. That was, I had tracks in my head that I thought always worked. I'd try to go out a little bit, but I knew what worked back then. And when you're doing 2 and 3 weddings a week, every week, it's very easy to fall into it.
Sure.
It's very easy to get stuck. But, you know, that's the goal. The goal is when they go to a next wedding a year from now and that DJ phones it in, they comment about how good their friend's DJ was that was you. And that's, I think, how we continue the process of getting booked.
I've got the same thing. I'm sorry, Howie. I've got the same thing cooking for this weekend. I've worked with this family before, and it was over 10 years ago. So they know my work. In fact, it's Blanca's ex-husband's familia. So they look at me as family, which is nice, you know, because we're all cool. But still, they're piling a lot on. You know, they're like, oh, he's
but they wouldn't put on what they think.
Here's a bunch of stuff. Like,
but that's your expert. They view you as the savior in this. You're the lifeguard, and they're like, here's the deal. We're just throwing everything in the deep end, but we know you can handle it.
Right. That's pretty much
That's a compliment to you.
Well, what I was going to say is I think we're letting our guard down here. Basically, like Brian said, therapy thing. Like you guys, you're not a checklist guy. I'm a checklist guy. I do. And I do check it twice. I put a check this way, and then after I do the double check, then I put a line this way, so there's an X through it. But I think that the reason, in my opinion, is that we genuinely care about that specific event. I mean, I think that's why we feel the way that we do, and sometimes we're double guessing ourselves and double checking and making sure, is because we genuinely care about that one event. It's not like you said, calling it in, you know.
Well, I think I got away from checklists when I started doing a lot of consulting for the DJ industry, because, you know, ADJ is constantly sending you a light or this or that. So your inventory is changing. So you're not going to make a new checklist every time you bring out a new product. So I got away from it because things change so much. If I had the same system set up and it was, you know, consistently the same thing for a couple of years, I'd have a checklist. But now, I mean, truth be told, things are so simplistic now. It's powered speakers, it's table, it's rack, it's computers, it's a case of lights, it's a cable case, and a cart. It's 7 things I got to worry about. Literally, that's it. It's so easy now. If it was the old days, or if I were one of those DJs who was using a lot of loose equipment, I'd have to checklist things. Absolutely. If I was doing big truss setups, I'd have to checklist things. Absolutely. But what I'm doing now, are you kidding me? No. The thing I have to worry about is I've got to charge lights. That I have to do. I got to make sure they're ready to go. Aside from that, I update the stuff, you know, my music, whatever I need for the event. I do my current updates, but I don't have to do anything with speakers. I don't have to do anything with a rack, batteries for a wireless microphone.
Mine's not really a long checklist. What I did was, I did this for a little while, and then it's the things that I have things you've forgotten. And one of the things is I forgot it's crazy enough, but the first time we roomed together and we put our sneakers down, lay down in bed, we both had the exact same New Balance speakers and our sneakers, and they are so comfortable working. I forgot them. I had my work ones on that were, you know, I knock around. I got to the event. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got out the Sharpie.
So
I got out the Sharpie and I polished the work sneakers and I did the gig. But then I put that on my checklist to bring my good sneakers, my New Balance. Sharpie is duct tape, Sharpie, and a bungee cord, and I'm good.
Absolutely.
That's what road warriors do.
Yeah. I think you get into routines, and I think sometimes the routines are their own checklist a little bit. I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of validity to keeping a checklist, because especially if anything changes, and it's not that the gear doesn't change, but you go back over going on hundreds of events of, I've worked it down to this has this, this has this, this has this, and I'm good. The one thing I do that I'm kind of over is I bring much more than I need. I'm always like with 10,000 cables. And this year, for the first time, I bought 2 smaller bags, and I check out the wisdom. I set everything up for the ceremony system. That's the reception ceremony. And then there's another one for dinner and toasting. And I took the 2 bags, and whatever cables were used, I put in those bags, and I marked the bag. So when I go back to set up the main system, I know all the cables are there. The only downside is at the end of the night, when I get lazy and go, oh, it doesn't fit, throw it in this bag. I'll get it before the wedding. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
A couple things I'll say, just talking about this whole checklist thing. In the last couple of gig logs that I've done, at the very beginning of the gig logs, I believe, or at least the last one I did, I'm in the back of the truck and I'm looking at the stuff and I'm doing like a visual checklist. Cart, table. Yep. Okay, we're good. You go through the whole thing. But I'll also say, and I hadn't thought of this in a while, when I'm doing an event that's not typical, meaning I'm not just doing a reception, if I'm doing like a ceremony where I need a battery powered speaker and I need a tablet and I need my Colorado Sunlight, power pack for the wireless microphones and mic stands, I'll make a checklist for that event. That I will do, because there's so much stuff. So it's the regular rig and it's all this other stuff that I have to bring. And same thing if I'm doing like a gobo or, something like that.
Right.
At that point, I will make a specialty equipment checklist specifically for that event. I will do that. And I think that's a really good idea to do it.
Yeah. Anything out of the norm, anything that's not in the standard, quote unquote. I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I had the minivan for a long, long time doing it. And before that, I had the Sebring convertible, and before that, I had an LTD. So my habit has always been to put things in horizontally. So if you open the back door of a car or a van, things go straight in. So they're side by side or side to side. Well, now that I use the Jeep Grand Cherokee for all my gigs, it dawned on me about 2 weeks ago, why don't we put things in vertically? So I don't have to move 3 things to get to one thing. Right. Now everything is side by side going front to back. So when I get to the gig, I'm going to set up the back. I pull the handle of the XC. I pull the 2 speakers from the doors because they're facing out in the bags. It's so much easier. And I'm like, why did it take 25 years to figure out that I didn't have to put it? Because even with the Grand Cherokee, I was putting things in sideways and stacking them against the speakers. And I'm like, why is it taking me this long to figure this out? Like, what is wrong with me?
You didn't have me to help you out with that stuff.
But you know what, though? You get habitual.
When I was young, people used to make fun of me at the multi-ups that I worked for. Whenever it came time to load a vehicle, even when I was like 19, 20 years old, no matter who it was, I said, get Red out there. He'll load that vehicle for you. He knows how to load. Because my father wasn't trucking. And every time that we put anything in a car, there was a reason. There was load shifts we had to worry about and all that stuff.
Right.
Weight over the axle or behind it. It just stuck with me. It was something that, because we used to take trips a lot. I moved away from my hometown when I was pretty young. So every vacation we were going back to see grandma's, and it was loading the vehicle. And it's just something that stuck with me. But back to your point about, loading your stuff, how did you describe it? I guess horizontally you described it.
Before, now vertically.
Right, vertically. There you go. Vertically is how you, up and That's how I do it. But I'll say this. I've been struggling lately. because the Suburban's not done yet. I'm using Dad's truck.
Right.
And
that's tougher.
You know, with my physical thing, going over the tailgate sucks. I really miss a latch like a minivan has, where you open it up and things are right there. That makes life so much easier. There's no getting in and crawling in there. I can reach everything and pull it out.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the day where I get my Suburban back. That's going to really save some energy, believe it or not. Not only
sure
during the event, but afterwards too.
Yeah.
I'm coming home and I'm going to bed pretty quick because I'm tired.
When you got to lift that stuff up high and push it there. I mean, you know, I was stubborn. And when I bought my Sebring convertible, we found out shortly thereafter that Michelle was pregnant. And I'm like, I finally get a convertible and I got to get rid of it. And we upgraded her car. So I did about five and a half years of weddings, parties, year round in San Diego in a convertible. And I mean, I was doing 65 to 80 events a year, and I would show up, put the top down. I acted like nothing was wrong. Take the two speakers off the back seat. The back seat floor had my speaker stands and a mic stand. Then my coffin went on top. Then the bags went between the coffin and the speakers. So the trunk got lights, dress shirt, you know, just the miscellaneous. And I'm like, what's the big deal? I've got two tops, two stands. Everyone does this, don't they? And people look at me like, why don't you buy an Astrovan? I'm like, I have a convertible. Like when I unload this at home, it's a convertible.
Right.
Like, why would I want an Astrovan? Because you're a DJ. Oh, okay. Sorry.
So this year, now I've got a challenge. Let's see if I can do a gig in the 65 Mustang. Let's see if I can load everything in there and go do a gig.
I did a gig for a year and a half in a Mazda 626.
Well, you probably could with the M30s.
You could all day long. I loaded this. I'm in, just to show everyone, I'm in a 1998 Dodge Stratus. I used to have a 2000, and then unfortunately my wife's grandmother passed away and she left us her car. So I have relatively a brand new 23-year-old car. But one of the things when I got the car home was I know that I can fit the XZ in the back seat and the bottoms of the EVs, not in the rolling cases, but by themselves. I can stand up the bags that come with the top speaker and the bar, and I've got a big trunk. And the whole thing is, what if you need to do a gig in the Mustang? Can you?
Right. And I've thought about that too. I mean, if I had to, I could do it in the truck. But the thing that's kicking my butt with that is primarily the Provent table, because that's 2x4 no matter how you cut it. And
that's the size taker.
The rock and roller cart, you know, which I could probably work out. So if I put everything in the truck, I could do it, but the table and the rock and roller go in the back. If it rains,
rock and
I'm not
roll
going to
fit
get
in the
ruined.
front seat. I put mine in the front seat.
It would fit in the front seat, but you got to remember, I'm going to have to maneuver it in and out of that front seat one-handed.
That's okay.
So I'm going to tear a truck up. It's better in the back for me.
100%.
I've done it like that. I've hauled equipment like that, but
I've always just put it in the front seat because I didn't have room anywhere else. So I was that idiot that's like, where are you going to put that? I got room up front. Okay.
Oh, the first gear hauler I had was a 78 Cutlass, two-door Cutlass, the coupe. That was my first vehicle I had to haul gear in. I built my first.
But we all had that. We didn't have transport vans.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone that had a van unless they were multi-op. Everyone I knew had like, you know, a station wagon or I spent 2 years with a 87 Crown Vic LTD.
Yeah.
That talk about room for gear.
Oh yeah, you got no problem with that.
I had no issue. 4 doors, room in the back seat for 10 bodies and golf clubs.
Right. You have plenty of room. The mafia car. Yeah.
Yeah. Trunk fit everything. I used to joke with Michelle about I'm buying a used limo and I'm going to use that to haul gear because it's got so much room. It's reinforced. And then when I get to the gig, I'm going to climb from the front seat to the back seat and let myself out like there's a driver. Because I thought that would look cool. Like, hey, how you guys doing today? I'm Jay. I'm the DJ. Wow. You took a limo? That's how I roll.
I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. We were all over the place, but what do you expect? It's Tuesday
That's what
night.
we do.
So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. We appreciate you. Howie, thank you.
Thanks, Howie. Thanks, Brian.
Jay, you're a trooper for doing this in the car tonight.
All-star, Jay.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you next week.
I care.